I definitely did not expect this comment exchange to turn into a full-length cooking video, but gosh, it did. Let's jump right into it. Hey y'all! Today we're going to be making some what I would call poor man's Chana Masala. We'll start out with the ingredients, but first I did want to do just a little bit of housekeeping notes. So you can see this is a little bit of a special setup compared to my normal. We're actually in the kitchen today. You might notice a couple of little insects flying around, and that's because yes, this time of year we do get a couple of friends in the kitchen at times, especially because we don't really have the best ventilation. So what we do if we're cooking something that makes a lot of smoke or anything like that is that this door right here opens, and I mean, you can imagine there's a little bit of a trade-off with that. And also my roommates are going to be in here doing some things every now and then, so you might notice like some cuts and pauses because you know, we share the kitchen, so I'm going to be giving them their space too. But you're going to see this, it just might be in bits and pieces. Okay, I think that's all my housekeeping. Oh, and the last little thing I do want to note, I realized that I am this and I'm making a kind of ethnic dish. I spent 2.5 months in India and I just love Indian food, but I'm not pretending that this is like the super authentic way or anything like that. And if you are someone from a culture where y'all eat that traditionally, I welcome your comments about what would be the authentic version and things like that. This is based on some Indian cooking videos that I've seen, my own modifications, and Chana Masala that I have had when I've been over there in India. All right, let's start talking about ingredients. So, of course we need the chickpeas. Oh, if you don't know, Chana Masala is like basically a kind of spiced chickpea recipe. And so this is one thing where it's kind of being like a poor man's thing because usually you would use actual proper tomatoes, but if you didn't see, I'll put it up. I think if I point this way, it'll go the right direction. I put up a budget grocery vlog, and tomatoes weren't really in the budget, but we did have a can of tomato sauce, so I knew that I could make this with what we already had around the house. So just a little bit of tomato sauce. It might come out a little drier than I would usually want because this is such a tiny little can, but we're gonna experiment together today. And then a lot of this kind of cooking, like Indian cooking, involves ginger garlic paste. I don't keep ginger garlic paste around the house, and there was one time that I went to a store looking for it, and the lady at the store told me it's better to just combine it and kind of make your own anyways. This isn't the freshest, like it's not fresh garlic and fresh ginger, but it's the kind of a little bit better than powdered type of deal. So this is the ginger, like just a pureed ginger, and then that minced garlic that you can get that both stay refrigerated. So a little fresher than powder. And then I do have some onion. Again, we're doing like I don't know, under conception core maybe. So this is an onion that's already been cut into some. We're just gonna use the rest of it. And usually with Indian cooking, if you know anything about it, you want a little bit of spice in there, like hot spicy. We don't have, so in Indian cooking, what we use a lot of time, or not what we, but what's used a lot of times in Indian cooking is something called the Thai green chili, which can actually be a little bit hard to find in certain parts of the US. I usually will have to go to Asian stores specifically. So what I substitute in instead is typically like a serrano pepper, but we don't have serrano peppers around here. There is always some kind of pepper though, because I live with a lot of people from Mexico. So we've got a little habanero today to put in heat. Hopefully it won't be too spicy because this is mostly for me. My roommate who shares food with me is not a big fan of garbanzos. And I'm going to go ahead and take you over this way for the spices because I feel like just holding up spices over and over will get a little crazy. Also, I think I might have someone coming to share the kitchen, so this is a good moment for a pause. All right, so here's all our spices we're going to be using today. We've got ground coriander, ground cumin, we have cardamom. Oh my gosh, This is something that can be, I'm a travel nurse, by the way, for those of you who just kind of tuned into this one video in isolation. And so I've been like in small town America, and this is probably the hardest ingredient to find in some parts of small town America, especially full pods. But I have them, yay! It's usually one of my cooking staples because if nothing else, I'd like to use it to make fresh chai masala, which is just what we call chai tea. But chai tea is kind of silly because chai literally means tea in Hindi. Anyways, tangent done with that already. Let's move on to the cinnamon sticks. A lot of Indian cooking involves whole spices, so you'll see 3 whole spices here today, which is the cardamom, cinnamon, and some whole cloves, and then just a little bit of chili powder. This isn't to add heat as much as like kind of like an earthy flavor, if that makes sense. And of course, turmeric. This turmeric is the reason I hadn't tried Indian cooking until I was older because my mom does not like it. And she specifically doesn't like Indian cooking because of this ingredient, which is not in every single dish, but it is kind of a staple. There. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but that onion tore me up a little bit. Let me know down below with a little onion emoji if you have a hard time cutting onions too. I have heard that, you know, the sharper the knife, the better. And one of my relatives told me some little trick with like a bowl of water next to it. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but I do try that sometimes. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything. Anyways, I wanted to show you a little bit of behind the scenes. So the way I'm filming the little cutting portion is right over here. I have a bendy tripod and I'm just shooting this portion with my phone. I always wondered how people manage that angle, so I wanted to share it with you. All right, let's go ahead and have me go wash my face off and we'll cut the habanero. All right, and now we've got some a pan and oil and this onion and habanero that we just cut up. We're gonna heat the pan up real quick. Let's see, I usually just wait till it turns red. Do any of y'all at home have gas? Because I love gas stoves, but I have never lived somewhere. Well, I take that back. I lived up in Washington. I had a place that had propane heat. And it was actually a bit of an adjustment for me because I'm more used to these electric stoves. Anyways, we look like we're getting red down here, so we'll go ahead and add oil. I just eyeball my oil whenever I am trying to watch what I eat a little bit more. I do like measure it out, but for today, we're just gonna make sure it's enough to coat the pan. And then we'll turn that heat down just a teeny bit because we're not deep frying today. And there is one test I do where I throw a little bit of water on it. But today we're just going to go ahead and add the onion and habanero in. Get a spoon here. And basically this just cooks here until the onion starts to turn gold and it gets a little bit aromatic. Also, at this stage, we're going to be adding the garlic and the ginger. So let me go get that. So these are something you want to weigh out because they can get a little overpowering. So we're going to weigh out a little bit of, probably I would say about a spoonful of each, maybe a little less than a spoonful of the ginger because it can be pretty strong. So a little less than a spoonful of ginger. And about a spoonful of garlic, depending on preference too, honestly. I know I'm not a huge fan of garlic, but it does have flavor. All right, so while this is sauteing, we can go over and drain the chickpeas. Here I do just want to make a little note that probably even more economical would be having chickpeas that are still dry. But for me, the time compromise I have to make to soak them and everything, and the kind of delicate art of soaking beans makes it to where I usually just spend that little bit of extra to have them pre-soaked in a can. So this is ready for us to add the tomato. Usually you would add, full tomato and cook it down, but this is already pureed sauce, so this process won't take as long. We don't have a can opener though, so my roommate had to help me open this with a knife. Ay, esto. Es magia, gracias. Qué bien. I should get us a can opener. But yeah, so at this point we already have the sauce made. If you want the sauce to be very smooth, you can put it in a blender. I usually would if I also have whole tomato, but because the tomato is already puree, I'm just gonna be okay with the chunks of soft sauteed onion in there. Oh my gosh, y'all. So I totally forgot to put in the whole spices. It's better for them to saute with the onion and everything, but also better late than never. So we've got the cinnamon, the cloves, and the cardamom. If you don't usually cook with cardamom, it's important to note that it's better to kind of crack the pot open a little bit so you actually get that flavor in there. All right, let's add those now. And yes, the whole spices, ooh, this is too hot. The whole spices do just stay in there the whole time. If you really want to, you can take them out, but I will say that from experience, I can tell you it's more traditional to leave the whole spices in. My oven is acting up today. I don't know why, but it's way hotter than I want it to be. I told it to just go down to simmer. Anyways, at this point, we're going to be adding in some spices. All right, so with the spices, you can also be more or less exact. I'm going to do a little bit of what I would call granny cooking with it, where, I'm going to measure it out on the spoon so we don't just dump too much spice. Turmeric you want to be careful with because it's pretty strong. And then we've got the coriander, which I'm probably going to put basically like a spoonful, like that. And then the cumin. Whoop. See, this is why we do the spoon. There we go. And some chili powder, which I am more free with because I use this so much that I kind of know about how much I should put in each dish. All right, and now we're going to cook this just long enough for the spices to kind of sink in. Again, this freaking stove, it's so hot today. Anyways, spices cooking. All right, now that the spices have cooked down a little bit, it's time to add the chickpeas. So we add chickpeas in and also some water to make it more of a sauce because obviously it's pretty thick right now. So we just mix this together. And I think I'm going to switch this over to my phone for a second so you can see a little bit better how this is looking. Or actually, let me see. Let's just take this off the stove for a second. So this is kind of the consistency and everything for right now. And then, you know, curry is kind of like, I guess I could call it between a stew and a sauce. It really depends on what texture you're going for. But kind of on the line of it being like a stew. We're going to see if we can get this to be more of a moderate level. And we're going to just cover and simmer for about 15 minutes. Alright, so while we've got the chana masala simmering over there, we are going to make the rice. I usually try to always have the rice ahead of time, but I'm not eating this right now. This is meal prep for later, so we'll just do it this way. And luckily, we still have a little bit of jasmine. It's not the same as basmati, but basmati and jasmine have similar enough flavor profiles, and it's still better than regular white rice like what we had to compromise on, and we'll be making other dishes with later this week. So I wanted to just put a little note in here that, at least for me, learning to cook rice on the stove is actually kind of difficult. Like, you would think it's simple, but to get it actually the nice texture like how you see in restaurants and from the experts, I have a lot of times that it comes off either too soggy or too dry. So I started doing some research, and one of the things I found is that you're not really supposed to do the double water for the amount of rice. And depending on the type of rice, you'll put a little bit more or less water. In the case of jasmine, I am making about a cup, and so for that cup, I'm going to put a cup and a half of water, not 2 cups. And that will hopefully give us a much better texture. It's been working very well for me in the past. Put down any of your rice cooking tips in the comments if you have some. I would love to hear them. And at this point, you might start to notice or hear a little bit more insects flapping around because I did have to open the door for ventilation. You also might have noticed that I was kind of cutting out pieces of myself coughing because it got pretty smoky. Here is our beautiful fluffy rice. Oh my gosh, y'all, so proud. The chana masala is also ready, so let's take a look. Beautiful. I am just going to serve myself out a little taste test portion for while we chat, because I've actually got some other food that I had planned for breakfast. All right, we're all sat down and cozy. Here is the dish itself. It doesn't look anything special, but it is pretty delicious. We're gonna try this one real quick and see if it's too spicy. It has kick, but just the right amount. I think one habanero was perfect for the portion that I made. I'll be packing this stuff up again soon, but I wanted to thank you for tuning in for this video and say that I really hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how those girls who and guys who eat on camera as their channel do it, because I had a hard time just taking that little bite for you. It made me feel awkward. I don't know. You can let me know below how you feel about eating on camera, seeing other people eat on camera, maybe just eating around people, because I know some people have a little bit of anxiety around that, and I can say that in some situations that's definitely me. This was a fun new style, although I'm not going to lie, it is pretty high effort. My kitchen doesn't have the best lighting, and I think you've noticed that it's not the best setup. It's not like I have an island counter or anything where I can set stuff up on, but I've made it work, and I hope you enjoy it. I am so looking forward to the house tour where you'll be seeing all of this. You're getting little peeks at my roommates today, at least what they're, comfortable with showing on camera, because they did, when they popped in the kitchen, I asked them, oh, can we I almost switched languages there, sorry. Anyways, I was like, oh, can we like record just this little slice of life thing? And they're like, sure. Just we kept faces out of it. Gosh, y'all, I am rambling a little bit. I hope you had fun with this little cooking video. It's my first cooking video and it definitely came with some challenges, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing a recipe that's been part of my life since college. And I am looking forward to showing you the rest of the house on Sunday. Be hitting that bell and making sure that it's on for notifications so that you can see that, my beautiful $200 rental that I share with my roomies. And also, if you're interested in hearing about my international travels, like I said, I did spend 2.5 months in India and also 5 months abroad in all kinds of wonderful countries. You should totally tune in on Friday. My longest running series is my international travel series, where I just, story time, share the footage that I did get while I was over there before I was a little YouTuber. And just in general, I'm so excited for you to see what is to come for my channel. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!
Tengo armado, sintiendo la vida.
¿Qué calentas ahora?
Desconectaste el micro, ¿verdad?
Ay, lo siento. And at this point, sorry, so much smoke, I think I'm gonna do that thing where we open the door. Just like that. Alright, so while we've got the Chana Masala simmering, you're still here. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope you enjoyed those fun little bloopers. It's one of my favorite things about starting the vlog part of my YouTube channel, having little bloopers to throw in at the end. But yes, and here is your crown for being my internet bestie, for staying around until the very end. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next time, whether it's for one of my international travel series, for the house tour, whatever it is. I hope to see you next time, internet bestie, and have a beautiful week, okay? Bye!